Let's do it. All right. Happy Friday, everyone. June 19th. Um, just as per usual, I sort of reach into my grab bag of personal experiences. I've had a few challenging uh, conversations, so just being emotionally charged of late. Like there's a lot going on at work. There's a lot going on, and just life in general, politics, all these kinds of things. And I noticed myself. Yeah, just being in this place, just feeling discombobulated, and this term, being homeless, came up for me. Obviously, homelessness is. I don't want to trivialize it by comparing myself to any homeless person, clearly, but this idea of being without a home, right? The sensory, emotional, spiritual experience of just being sort of shaken up and feeling like, man, where's my center? Where's my North Star? How do I ground back into this? And I was thinking to myself, so where do I find that? You know, for me, I was just up in the Canadian Rockies, so this is a picture from up there. And again, I'm not a religious person, but to me, this is like I get the term God's country. Like when I'm up there, I can hear the wind sort of in the aspen trees, and I can see the ripples on the water and the clouds and just the expansiveness of the sky and how dramatic the mountains are. Like to me, that is hands down that's a central point for me to just come back to like, oh right, I know where I fit into all of this. And oddly enough, the smaller I feel, the more at home I feel. I think that's why I like astronomy and cosmology and all this kind of stuff, because there's something really comforting about feeling some degree of insignificance or unimportance. It just maybe puts into context, that altercation that I just had with that person that felt all charged. And you sit there and you're looking at this view of these beautiful mountains, and you're just imagining, gosh, this is like hundreds of millions of years old. And it's just, I don't know, it just sort of puts things into perspective. So the theme for today is the idea of like, what is home, and what does it take to come back to home base when we feel like we're kind of adrift, or we are quote unquote homeless. And of course, this happens to all of us. It happens to varying degrees. Like some things are really significant and they're really threatening, and others are just like, oh, I just feel kind of out of sorts and want to come back. So anyway, so that's the theme for today, and let's see what it means to come back to home base, what that means for us. So close your eyes. And let's start by finding a sense of sort of home ground in this moment. One of the best ways of connecting with the present moment and home base is the body. Just noticing what you're sensing in your feet, in your knees, in your hips, in the belly, hands, spine, chest, shoulders, the neck, and the head. And the idea here is just to notice, like none of us really have the option of going through life or existing without this thing called the body. And the cool thing is the body is in many ways, very straightforward. Things feel good, they hurt, they feel bad, they feel pleasurable. So the goal is just to notice, like what's it feel like right now? What is the body doing? So that's one kind of home base. It's one way of coming home is just to connect with just the sensory experience of our biology, just to appreciate it for what it is in the moment. So the sensory experience is a kind of home base. Then there's our emotional self. So it gets a little cloudier. So emotions are, think of it as almost like they're I mean, emotions are experienced by the body, but there's also a bit of a cognitive aspect to it, right? When we say, oh, I feel sad or I feel whatever, there's a bit of a cognitive interpretation there. So just noticing like what, what feelings are you noticing in this moment? How does the body feel? How does the mind feel? What's it feel like to be you right now? And then there's thoughts, ideas, memories, sort of fantasies about the future. So this is sort of the cognitive realm. And again, for most of us, this is a really familiar experience. Like we know what it's like to think, to remember, to worry, process. See if you can just feel into what it's like, what the cognitive experience is like right now. And then there's spirit. In full disclosure, I don't even really know what that means, but I think I have a sort of an intuitive sense of spirit is this thing that is kind of above or beyond what I just described. It's beyond the physical, the emotional, the intellectual. There's something larger. And what's it like to be in your spiritual self, in your spiritual home? Even though I can't define it, pretty good intuitive sense of when I'm connected to it or not. And then based on your life experience, what's the convergence point for where all of these things come together and you feel at home? So either in your memory or think of a place. Like for me, it's sort of the grand outdoors. That's where my physical, emotional, cognitive, spiritual self, it all converges into one and it all makes sense. So what's that for you? Where do you experience that? And what's it like to experience that? Imagine yourself in that in that place or in that situation, like it's activated for you. Take note of how it affects your physical, emotional, intellectual being. And if you're lucky enough to have a place or an experience in mind that you would tag as home, the $1 million question is, are you spending enough time there? And if not, why not? What would it take to spend more time there? Why wouldn't we spend more time there if that's really home base? One of the weird things about transitioning from like childhood and adolescence to becoming a grown up is it's like, oh yeah, we let all these things, you got a mortgage, you got a job, you got responsibilities, you got all this stuff, and it all gets in the way of like, wait a second, what's the point of doing all that stuff if not to thrive and experience a sense of connectedness to being home and living from that place. So it's just an invitation to question that for just a few moments to say, wait a second. And you take a deep breath in, blow exhale through the mouth, relaxing the neck, the shoulders, the chest. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in. Out. And hold the out breath for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes, come on back. My wish for you is that you spend as much time as you possibly can this weekend in that connected to that home base, and that you feel it and experience it, and that it's awesome for you. So yeah, on Monday, everyone.